So Dallas, it's all about the dogs, and we can't wait to hear about the dogs. So tell us about how you start building a dog team, and pretty complicated animals, right?
They're complicated might be the wrong word, but in many ways, or like many animals, I suppose, they may be simple or familiar on the surface, but the more you get to know them, the more complex they are. Um, and I think that's really what has kept me in the sport and drew me into it. I've got three brothers. All of us grew up doing very much the same thing, working long days, homeschooled, sled dogs, and racing was our life. But I'm the only one that stayed in the sport, right? We weren't forced to continue practicing this this activity. But what captivated and captured me was the uniqueness of each individual and how the more you understand them, the better able you are to coach them, to develop them, and then to work them into the team, which is really like a very large puzzle and each one's a piece, but maybe they fit in better this way, or maybe the team is better without them, even though they're great in these five categories. These categories bring negatives, right? So you're trying to develop each individual to their highest potential and then have the highest net value of a team and how they cooperate and interact with one another. So training them now is very much about developing year one, develop a solid, confident, um, well-rounded, happy dog, right? I don't care what they do physically. That's not really even in the question yet. In It's more about just get them out, get them experiences, teach them that they can trust the human, that they can trust the pack, that this is a safe, secure environment, and they can be boisterous and outgoing, right? But they also have to respect their teammates and their litter mates and the humans that are going to be working with them. Between about 1 and 2, we start actually focusing on exercising and learning how to cooperate in a team. They're going to put on a harness for the first time at about a year old. There's no rush. We do a lot of loose running and getting exercise and, just loose in the forest before then. So that first year is like high school sports, learning how the game is played, kind of the rules of the game, which what you're allowed to chew on and what you're not allowed to chew on. um, they're going to start learning some manners and how do we hold the lines tight and behave, and what happens when we get in a big tangle. And if you have a bunch of well-rounded, confident dogs, they're going to look at you and say, "Hey, boss, I think something's going wrong," and sit there and kind of hang out patiently. But there's no need for panic. There's no need for worry or aggression or anything like that. In that year in training, it really is fairly simple. I mean, in dog terms, in human terms, they're doing a lot of 20 to 40-mile runs, which will take 2 to 4 hours, which is honestly not dissimilar to a high school student doing 2 to 4 hours worth of practice in a day, 3 or 4 days a week. Then as 2 to 3 year olds, now they kind of move into college sports and they start doing longer camping trips, and they're going to be out on the trail for, a few days in a row. And this is where you really start to see them come into themselves and start to need and value their pack, right? Things will start to get a little bit challenging, and that's where they start to rely on one another. And they have to be confident enough to show vulnerability, which is not something that an insecure animal often does. And then as 3 going on 4, that's when they start training with me for the main racing teams. And now it's very serious training. They're fully matured. They're going to be almost 4 years old before they compete in their first competitive race. And all the while, it's about watching them and understanding. And that's the part that I love, is trying to figure out what is holding them back. Why do they do the behavior that they do? There's a myriad of reasons. So just you have to understand them very, very well in that process.
So the whole time you're building a relationship with each individual dog, right? And then that creates a bond. And how does that translate into the race, and why is it so important for the race?
For a few reasons. One, as a coach of a team like this, you have to have near precognition as far as knowing how they are going to react to not the situation right now, but how will this situation affect them 2 or 3 days from now. And this is why I love ultra long distance racing. We do 1,000-mile dog sled races. It's not about who can cover this one piece as fast as possible. It's not just about physical ability. It's about managing that team over a number of days and challenges. And so by having that relationship with them, I can make better decisions for them as far as setting up what we're going to do. How much of the trail are we going to cover today? How much rest do we need to take after having done that portion of trail? Secondly, and this is, I think, far more important, is If they are a confident, comfortable animal, all you're asking them to do is run happily down the trail. There's no stressors, right? Think about a human athlete that everything is perfect in their life. They have a perfect relationship, their kids are doing great in school, and they're on their bicycle, and all they have to worry about is pedaling hard and doing this race. It's easy. There's no resistance, right? Now you look at the athlete next to him, who physiologically might be the same individual, but is on the brink of a divorce, and kid's getting in trouble and is in going to juvie possibly and has a court date next week. How does that athlete function in that same setting, right? Those emotional stressors play a huge role in our ability to perform and just be a happy, comfortable animal. And so what I want to do is solve everything in the world so that all they have to worry about is doing what they love. And if they can do that, then we do well. I do well, right? My quote unquote success in the race, I don't really do much of anything. I'm not the athlete. I run and help up the hills, but the key to me is if my dogs have a great day or a great hour, which leads to the great day, then they have a great 2 days and they have a great 10 days, lo and behold, good things happen. They hand me the trophy. I didn't do anything. We facilitate. We make sure they have a great day, a great minute right now.